All right. So first and foremost, I want to welcome those that are on this call. This is the first call of a 6-week boot camp that we're running, and it's designed for the next 6 weeks to put in place all the critical elements that all successful business owners have in their business. And we start with goals and business plan. So we need our personal and professional goals. The second piece is a business plan. How the heck are we going to get our goals? How are we going to accomplish our goals? That business plan is a very important thing because so many people set out goals to make a certain amount of money, pay off credit card debts. Well, great. How are you going to do that? Is what most people struggle with, setting up a game plan. We all know that successful people, I mean, this week is Super Bowl Sunday. You better believe that coaches are working tirelessly day in and day out through the night, burning the midnight oil to come up with plans, each not only a game plan for the offense, a game plan for the defense, but each individual will have a plan for how they're going to beat their defender, right? And from the offensive lineman, defensive lineman, corners, safeties, receivers, right? There's a complete set of plans, right? So now they go to practice today, and they're going to be practicing how their execution. They're going to be repping out, right? So when we look at our business plan as real estate agents, as loan originators or insurance agents, whatever you may be on this call, it's important to dissect, okay, in that plan, all right, what am I going to do about my past clients in my database? What am I going to do about my social media marketing? Am I going to attack for sale by owners, expireds? What about my farming? How am I going to attack the areas I want to farm? What is my process? And then what's my follow-up going to be for each of those things? Because we know that simply having that first conversation, yes, you're going to get some people to say yes right away and we move forward. But most of the sales that great people make is going to be in the follow-up. So we have to have follow-up systems, which is why we have the Spider CRM to handle the follow-up, to handle the database management, and to extract as much possible value we can in terms of revenue and sales out of this database, which most salespeople are very, very poor at. They don't know what to say to their database, how often to say it. And there's no system. It's just information just sitting there, right? And that's what we're going to stop. So we know we need goals. We know we need a plan for how we're going to accomplish our goals. The next thing is, okay, within that business plan, when we dissect the different categories and areas of where our business is going to come from, and I've got 8 listed in our business plan. You don't have to run all 8, but you're going to pick and choose which facets you're going to run. There's going to be skill sets needed. In many cases, they're phone scripts and actually sales presentation scripts that need to be created and internalized. So we talked about in the initial seminar, okay, that the phases of greatness are understand what you need and what you don't have. The next thing is get it in writing, what you need, right? Fill in the gaps. So it's got to go from an understanding in your brain to actually have it in writing. And then the next phase is the internalization. It's honing. It's the practicing, right? And then it's the executing. And then when we execute, we're dissecting it further. How can we get a little bit better? What do we do right? What do we do wrong? How can we sharpen that blade, right? And that's really where most people stop. That's, think about all facets of life, great, we're overweight, we're out of shape, we go to the gym and we understand that, okay, you're eating this way, you need to eat this way. You're not exercising, you need to exercise, and this is an exercise regimen, right? So you sit down with a fitness coach and they put that plan together for what you're going to put in your body and how many calories you're going to burn off when you exercise, how many days you're going to do it, and what exercise you're going to do during the week, right? And then you have to execute it, right? It's the execution part that stops most people. But when you have clear goals and you have a clear business plan, there's certain things psychologically that make all the difference in the world to get people to continue taking action, right? And combined with goals is going to be the next phase of greatness, which is our mindset, controlling our mindset. That's where focus and discipline comes into play. Being consistent over time and doing the things, doing them willfully, doing them eloquently, expecting rejection as part of our game, and keep moving forward on certain key activities every single day. So that's what we're going to do in this 6 months. It's goals, a plan to accomplish the goals, right? It is the skill sets you need, which is going to be phone scripts for every aspect of your business plan, sales presentations for buyers, sales presentations for sellers, right? And follow-up systems, workflow automation for all those things, right? And then the mindset piece, and that's where the coaching comes in, the weekly, monthly calls. And some people have gone to the step of hire us to be their one-on-one coach, if that's something that certain people choose. I'm a big fan of one-on-one coaching. I believe that is a great accelerator and the ultimate level of accountability. So that is how you achieve greatness. So let's start today's session, goal setting. Okay. It's no secret that the highest achievers in life have been found all have one thing in common. They have clear goals for every aspect of their life that's important to them. And knowing the why to that simple fact will reveal not only why over 90% of all people do not, in fact, live goal-directed lives, but it will also help you overcome the psychological elements that may be holding you back and freeing you to actually, from this point forward, live a life of setting and accomplishing your goals. And to share a quick story with you, there was a real estate agent that came to me, I don't know, maybe it was maybe a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago. And he said, Pat, I'm 46 years old. I'm struggling in my business. And, I used to do good numbers, and I'm just at a stalemate right now. And I said, wow. And I happened to meet with this individual live. He's from my hometown, Rochester, New York, right? So we had a discussion. Now, looking at this guy, he was an absolute physical specimen. Veins are popping out of his arms, and he just looked like he was in fantastic shape. And I said to this particular individual, I'm going to use the word Jason. I said, Jason, were you ever out of shape? He said, yeah. He goes, I was really out of shape. I said, in fact, I had type 2 diabetes from eating so many carbohydrates and so much sugar and so much garbage. And I weighed over 300 pounds, and I went to sleep with a contraption that helps me breathe at night, because I was having problems sleeping, sleep apnea, the whole deal. And I was on my way to dying. Okay. He goes, and I said, well, what happened then next? What was the transition point? It's fascinating that you're now going to come to learn that he's an actual body. He's done bodybuilding shows, right? And he's in fantastic shape, and just, he actually runs now a prepared meals company on the side, and his wife helps him out with that, etc. So I said, well, let me ask you a question. At that critical moment, obviously your kids and your wife in survival and living was something that propelled you to take action, but what did you do? He said, the first thing I did was talk to the people that were in great shape, right? And I found out, the common things that they all had in mind were they had very clear goals. In other words, they wrote down what specifically they wanted to weigh. They wrote down how many. They found out what point A looked like, so they knew what their basal metabolic rate was, so they knew what their body, if they did nothing, actually burned every single day. They really come to understand the ugliness of point A, to how much body fat they have, right? And they kind of really looked at it, and then they said, okay, if I'm at 28% body fat, my goal is to get to 15%, right? And if I weigh 300 pounds, my goal in this particular guy wanted to weigh 195, which is what he weighed as a senior in high school. And so I said, so you wrote very clear goals. So you defined point A, you wrote down point B, which is where you wanted to get to. And I said, what next? He goes, then I had to really come to understand not just what people did. Everybody knows eat high protein, low carb diets, push, pull, squat, walk fast. You got to exercise. Everybody knows that, right? He goes, but I wanted to know more of the actions and activities, the habits and the routines that they followed that led them to greatness. In other words, I wanted to come to understand their way of thinking about exercise and their way of thinking about food. So I found out that the very best people, the people that were in fantastic shape, they still had the same temptations that everybody else did. Let's go out and let's go to happy hour. Let's have a beer today. Let's go out for a drink tomorrow. Let's go out to Smith's this day, where the Johnsons invited us over, and there's always going to be chicken wings and beer and vodka and all this stuff. And if I said yes to everybody, which is what I typically did, I would drink myself into oblivion, eat horrible foods, then have a terrible night's sleep and wake up and have no energy. I found that the people that were in the greatest shape actually prepared their meals on Sundays. So they would cook on Sundays, and so that they didn't have to think about what to eat. In the meals, they would actually get a food scale, and they would measure the meals to find out exactly how many calories, because it's all science, Pat. If you burn off 3,000 calories, your basal metabolic rate is you burn off 3,000 calories a day, and 3,500 calories is 1 pound, right? I knew that for me to lose 2 pounds a week, right, I had to burn off 7,000. I had to burn off 7,000 more calories than I actually consumed, right? So that would tell me that I want to now take my food down to 2,500 calories. I'm at 1,000-calorie deficit without working, and I'm going to work out and burn off another 500 calories, right? So that's 1,500 calories a day. If I do that 5 days a week, he goes, I'm already, I'm losing the weight I wanted to lose on a weekly basis, right? That's it. So you measured your food, you found out the macros, right? The macros are protein, carbohydrates, and fats, and you found out the percentage of each of those things that you wanted to be to have enough energy to go to the gym, so you weren't starving your body of carbohydrates completely, but you needed to reduce your carbohydrates. You knew exactly the ratio of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and the micronutrients what you needed to supplement supplements, vitamin D, B, A, and all the things your body needs to perform at a peak level. And you knew all that, and you defined all that, and you actually paid a nutritionist to go over your specific meal plan based on your goals, correct? Yes. He said, yes, that's exactly what happened. I said, what else? He goes, then I actually had to figure out, because I was a meathead type trainer, I would heavy squats, heavy bench press, and take 5 minutes off between sets. And the trainer told me, no, we've got to make your weight training sessions also cardio sessions. And he introduced me to this concept called high intensity interval training, which means we're going to raise the heart rate up, and we're going to slow it down. We're going to raise the heart rate up. He goes, that high intensity interval training burned off the most amount of calories, both during the workout as well as throughout the day. So I I also knew that changing my workup regimen was the key to success. So I said, wow, this is pretty fascinating. So what ended up happening? He goes, well, the key thing, the one key difference, he goes, I actually, even though the meals were prepared, I got the MyFitnessPal app and I entered all my calories into this app. And he goes, and I did that every single day. So I would, if I cheated, if I had something outside of my meal plans, I would log it in. And he goes, and what ended up happening is I realized the cause and effect nature when I cheated and I went outside my meal plan and my specific goals, right? The impact it would have. And I did all that hard work at the gym. I didn't want to go backwards, right? I mean, I really pushed myself at the gym. The last thing I want to do is erase that entire meal with a 200-calorie chocolate chip cookie from BJ's wholesale, right? If I have 3 of those, that's 600 calories. That is more than one I should be eating at one meal, and that's 3 cookies. They're down, they're gone, and the taste is good for 20 seconds, and now I got to pay that price. He goes, I don't want to do that. He goes, but it was the daily entering of my calories that caused this mental game with me, where it was the ultimate accountability to myself. And he goes, I became more calorie conscious, right? And I understood the cause and effect nature of food. So he goes, those things, and having accountability in days I didn't want to go to the gym, and I paid money for a trainer, and that trainer would push me more than I would then push myself otherwise, until I formed the habit. So I said, well, that's just fantastic. I said, well, no, can we take that to your real estate business? I have a couple questions to ask you. You're not doing well with your real estate business right now, correct? He said, no. I said, do you have goals for your real estate business written down where I asked you can pull them out? He said, no. I said, do you have a specific strategy that you follow, a system to follow to leverage your past clients and the people you know? Because every American family is aware of 3 real estate transactions. Have you done anything with your friends, your family, your database that would cause reciprocity? In the process of doing that, you would add value into their lives in a specific number of times, prescribed number of times per year, add certain value, mix it up between video, voice, and personally meeting with them. Have you done any of that? No, I follow no system. Okay. What about expireds or FSBOs? Do you have a scripts and dialogues completely locked and loaded where you can pick up the phone right now and call expireds and FSBO leads and generate income right now from people you know are wanting to sell their house? He said, no. I've tried it. I dabbled. I said, did you follow a script? No. Okay. Did you practice anything? No. Okay. So do you have a business plan for your business? No. Okay. So let me get this correct. You just told me over the last 35 minutes that the key to success in your health was clear goals, a clear plan, and tools and coaching and accountability. And none of that exists in your real estate business. And he started laughing, right? So I said, success is truly cause and effect. I said, in fact, if you woke up, right, on Monday, and this is all relative to business, and I told you there are certain things you could do that if you did them, if you knew 100% you could not fail, would you do them every single day? In other words, it was a guaranteed success. If all you had to do was say these words this amount of times to your past clients, it was a absolute guarantee that it was going to monetize for you. Would you do them? He said, well, of course. Who wouldn't, right? I said, exactly. I said, so if you truly believe that life is cause and effect, that you do reap what you sow, and you look at the fact that you're not taking the right actions, no action, there's no rhyme or reason, it's complete randomness. You're sitting there waiting for people to come into your lives and say, hey, Jason, I want to sell my house. Will you be my guy? And you do. Some people do that, but those are not referrals. Those are passive referrals, right? That's just your tight friends. And I go, you can't run a substantial real estate business and just rely on your tight, close-knit friends that want to help you grow your real estate business. We got to extend beyond that and pop in people's lives proactively and condition their minds that we're a realtor. And we do that by adding value and creating reciprocity, right? So yeah, I said, well, there's no magic pill either. You can't just do online sales funnels and talk to people on Facebook and strangers. I go, this is high ticket selling, which requires a lot of trust and rapport building. You're talking about brokering the biggest asset most people have was the equity in their home. So no, you can't do a Facebook ad and sit back and people fill out lead submission forms you respond to all day long and sell them, right? And if you don't have the money to pound, $1,000, $2,000 a month on Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads, if you don't even have a script, you're not going to sell them anyway because they're still cold leads, right? Some of them are going to be garbage, and then those are the things we have to look back and say, take the elements that stripped all that weight and made you healthy and simply add those elements into your business. So when it comes to goal direction, guys, when I put this in here, right? First of all, I want to say hi to Nicole Brown Hardy. Good to have you on as well. I know you joined us a few minutes late. Just saw your name pop up. Goal direction is where it starts, guys. And we have to become fascinated with our goals. And I'm going to pull my chair, look back, reach back. Within 3 feet of me all day long is my binder of my personal and professional goals. And I open it up, and the first thing I see is my master personal dreams list, right? And then, so I look at that every single morning, and then I go to my summarization, right? What have I done right in my career? What have I done wrong? And what are the things I'm going to do differently? And then I'm going to flip over to my top 10 career goals for 2019, right? And I'm going to really dive into these things, right? And I can't wait. And I write my achieve by date, right? And so I'm looking at these things. I'm saying, oh my gosh, I've got to get this done. I'm on track or I'm behind, right? And it causes the same game that logging your calories into the MyFitnessPal app would be. It's like, I don't want to fail. I have it in writing, and I don't want to be a failure. And ask my kids to live a goal-directed life. Ask my kids to do their best in sports. Ask my kids to do their best and really put school ahead of other things, right? And so they get good grades, right? I can't ask them to be a certain person and then me to be the hypocrite, right? So I've got to do those things. But simply having them in writing creates that accountability, and looking at them every single day, eventually they become absorbed and they really become something that and work towards every single day. And what does that do? It gets us over our comfort zones, the walls, because walls come up. There are days we don't feel good. There's days where, and by the way, when you're taking care of your body and eating vitamins, my kids and even my wife, the flu bug went around the house. I didn't get sick. Okay. I was the only one. Everybody threw up. Everybody had, this flu. I didn't get sick. All right. Then everybody got the cold, stuffy, sneezing. Right. And I didn't get that either. Right. Well, I'm very diligent with my food and my vitamin intake. Maybe that's the reason why. Well, my point is simply this, okay? There are going to be walls that come up. There is going to be adversity in our lives. And when we hit that wall, we got a decision to make. And this is the psychology of why people don't go from having goals in their head to putting them down on a piece of paper. All decisions that human beings make is based on one of two things, either to gain a benefit or to avoid a loss. I mean, every single decision your prospects make, every single decision you're going to make, whether they're going to list with you, whether your buyer's going to choose you to be their buyer's agent, right? Whether you're going to write goals down or not, whether you're going to take action and prospect and understand that there's rejection as part of the game of sales or not, will either going to be, to seek gain or to avoid pain, right? Again, same thing, same way of saying it. Gain a benefit, avoid a loss. Seek gain, avoid pain. That is the pain-pleasure principle that is part of our human makeup. And when we understand that psychology, we now understand that when we look at goal setting and why 98% of people don't live a written, goal-directed life in every aspect of their life is to avoid the pain that they may not happen. And then it comes down to belief. Do you believe that if you wrote down, I want to go to the Mexican Riviera this year, do you believe that can happen? Do you believe that you can earn the amount of money you want to earn? 300, 400, 500, a million, whatever your income goal is, right? So you may not right now, but that's okay. Write it down. You may not believe that it belongs to you. And the first step of making it belong to you is not only writing it down, but you'll notice the way I structure goals is to write affirmations so that we repeat the fact that we own it, that we are it, that we have it, that it's already in our possession. That is an affirmation. And the affirmations and the visualization are the things that rewire our stinking thinking, our limitations that are all self-imposed limitations. Because let's face it, if the Wright brothers can create the world's first flying machine and spend 22 years of failure hand carving 22,000 wooden wing designs, having to invent the world's first wind tunnel so they can test each wing design to make sure it's strong enough to lift a human being in the air, but light enough, right, for the aerodynamics of this thing to sustain in the air, right? 22 years of failure, then we certainly can make 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, whatever income goal. Why? It's already been done. You're not inventing the world's first flying machine. You're going to accomplish something based on simple numbers, right? And as the number one number to have is every American family is aware of 3 real estate transactions a year. So if you know 100 people and you're adding value into their lives, and you get two of those referrals from those 100 people, in other words, 2 tomatoes off of every 100 tomato plants, right? So you get 2 referrals out of every 100. That's 200 referrals. How many can you close based on your sales skills? Now, some people won't qualify. Some people are going to use somebody that's tighter or closer, but let's just boil it down and say 100 of those have different situations: lack of credit, lack of, the tighter, closer relationship with some other realtor. 100, how many can you close out? So we just took 100 away. 100, if you closed just half of those, that's 50 transactions, right? So when you look at your average commission, now I have people from all walks of, the country on the call, but if we look at simply, let's just say a $4,000 average commission, right, times 50 sales, that's got to be what, 200 grand a year right then and there. That's half of half. That's half of half, right? And those are all referrals, by the way, and we don't typically have a 50% closing rate with referrals. We have an 80%, 90% closing rate. So there's $250,000 sitting on the table for every single person on this call right now. So where does it start? It starts with change. Because right now, you all have certain habits that are hurting you and limiting you. We have daily routines that are not optimal. We wake up at a certain time. We have a routine that's not optimal, that's not high payoff activity driven, right? And we're slow to start and we're quick to finish, maybe, right? Our days, or that we spend our days doing low payoff activities, administrative tasks, right? And if we do that 6 days a week, and we really were looking at our weeks and boil down the fact that most high payoff activity is only done maybe a couple hours a week, then we can begin to see no wonder why we're not accomplishing the things we have. So what does it take? It takes courage. Well, how do we make sure we get courage? Through preparation, right? And preparation gives us courage. Knowledge gives us courage. Digesting and repping out and practicing gives us courage. And when we do that, we take action and we get a result, we get even more courage. We just broke a level of comfort zone. Where does it start? It starts with very clear goals. Now, there's also something, and I'm going to take us through the goal setting exercise in just a minute, okay? So you understand it's not just you as an individual, your career, it's every aspect of your life, your family, your fitness, your personal finances, your spiritual and or community goals. Those all need to be done, written down, okay? Now, as I'm doing this, some of you have been on some of my training in the past relative to goal direction. I have a question for you. Is it complete right now? And if you've already been through my goal setting exercise, did you actually print it out, put it in a 3-ring binder, and write them all out? And do you have them in writing? Just write down yes or no, okay, in the little chat area. I'm just curious. And just be honest. It's no big deal. And I'm not going to mention your name or whether you did or not to the rest of the group, but I'm just curious myself, and it's okay. And I applaud you because some of you have already been through this exercise and you're back on again, because sometimes we need a kick in the pants twice. Sometimes we need space repetition, multisensory learning. Repetition is the mother of all learning, and maybe the second time around we hear it and see it a little bit different, right? So goal setting in the law of attraction. The law of attraction it's like gravity. You can't see it, touch it, smell it, but it is very real, and it very much exists. Because sometimes when we write things down on a piece of paper, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? I've got no money for marketing or farming, and I've got $20,000 of credit card debt. I mean, how am I going to possibly do this? Don't worry about it. Write it down, because your creator, whatever your religious or spiritual beliefs are, and through the law of attraction, all right, will start to call forward to you the people, the situations, the opportunities, the resources that you need to accomplish that goal. Your subconscious mind will begin to, like a magnet, pull and call forth all the things that you need to accomplish those goals. So we need to start by writing these things down and having a very clear set of goals for every aspect of our lives. So if I go into on the sales skill side of the Spider CRM, and I see the Spider Media Goal Setting Action Plan here, okay. Again, and sometimes people, I want you to understand the difference between conscious and subconscious. Everybody consciously can write down goals and say, all right, consciously, no, I can do that. That belongs to me, right? And some people write down, because I always hear this time, you have to write down realistic goals. Well, what does realistic mean? Realistic based on what your own comfort zone is right now, right? And everything's realistic, right? The loftier the goal, the more, maybe the more of a mastermind group you need, more resources you need, right? And different activity levels. Maybe certain things got to be a little bit longer. We have to have longer work weeks, right? And some people, that's not you. It's like, I literally talk to real estate agents. They say, Pat, I don't want to work like that. And I say, work like what? I never said hours a week was a mandatory. You had to work 60 hours a week to make 300 grand. I never said that. In fact, the more stealth you get, the more focus you get with your time. You can, in a regular, normal 40-hour work week, which the average American makes about $60,000, and you can make $250,000 very easy, very fluently, and in a very fun fashion in this business. That's the beauty of real estate. That's the beauty of owning your own business, right? So write it down, okay? And goal setting starts with this. It starts with your master personal dreams list, right? Now, what you don't want to write on your master personal dreams list is erase get rid of knock down the $20,000 credit card debt. Your master personal dreams list is this. You already have the money. You already have some time. What are you going to do with it, right? I want to ski the Alps. I want to play Augusta National, right? I want to play, Saginaw. I want to play St. Andrews, right? I want to visit Ireland, right? I want to go on a hot air balloon ride over Sedona with my wife, right? I want to see my daughter Hannah earn a Division I scholarship. I want to see my daughter Morgan finish medical school. I want to see my son Patrick go to West Point, right? You write down everything that is meaningful, and this is your bucket list, right? And so I put 120. If you need more, just write more out and put those things down. What I've noticed over the years is the older people get, the less that list comes. Why? You have to go back like a kid, because if I asked my 4-year-old Reagan to sit down, I mean, she would just keep going on and on and on and on. I want to see Barney. I want to see, this, that, and the other thing. I want to spend time with Doc McStuffins. She would have this all huge list, right? So once you're done with that, we have to look back, and this is called the habit of self-reflection, all right? We got to write down, what are some of the things you've done right in your business, okay? What are some of the things you've done wrong, right? And this is important, when this is admitting to yourself, okay? You're really beginning to talk back to that inner voice in writing down the things you've done wrong. And then, what are the 10 things? And it could be 5, it may be 6, or maybe 10, or maybe more. You can expand upon this if you so choose. What are you going to do differently? What are the actions you need to do differently to accomplish those goals? What are you willing to trade? Right? So if we go back to that pain pleasure principle, we realize that, most people don't live a goal-directed life to avoid the pain of and the lowering of my self-esteem. If they write it down and it doesn't happen, then I have a lesser belief of myself. It lowers my self-image. So that's called self-esteem, self-preservation. Again, it's called self-esteem, self-preservation, why we do not write goals down. And what I'm telling you is write them down anyway, because anything can be accomplished with a plan to accomplish them, and the skills and the work ethic and the high payoff activities and the execution thereof. And most importantly, when you look at self-esteem, self-preservation, that is why most people don't pick up the phone and prospect and talk to strangers. They gravitate strictly to people that already know them, like them, trust them, and make them feel comfortable, where they have the lowest amount of rejection and no's that could possibly happen, right? And that doesn't pay abundance. That only pays the bills, right? Doesn't pay abundance, it pays it. Where the money's made in sales is creating friends, creating new friends. And we do that by first talking to people that we don't know. And when we do that, we experience more rejection. And the reason why people don't prospect is because they're not prepared for what they're saying, number one. Even the ones that do take a script, write it down, memorize it, if they really haven't owned it, right, which again, very few people practice anything in business, okay? It'll practice the piano or the guitar 8 million hours, and then boom, when they perform, they do good. Everybody says they're awesome, right? But they don't translate that into sales for some reason, right? My job as the coach is to make sure we practice. But that is why most people don't prospect, okay? Because they fear failure, and to preserve their existing self-esteem, they don't want to hear no's, right? And that's what deters most people from selling. I mean, you talk to the top salespeople, everybody says, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had their ability. I wish I was a born salesman like them, man," because salespeople make all the money, right? But salespeople also get most rejection, and they don't care. And they don't care because they know their numbers, and they realize that they may get 7 to 70% no's on cold lists and the new person approach. But the 30% that said yes is what created their vacations, that created their home they live in, created the vehicles they drive, created the ability to take trips and do nice things and have their kids play travel, this, that, and the other thing, and live a life of their dreams, right? So after we really admit those things, we say, all right, then I want to really you to focus again. This is the dartboard. So if you think of the dartboard, this is the outer dartboard, right? And then we're starting to narrow things down. The inner part of the dartboard is your top 10 career goals, right? And then we look at the bullseye, for our careers. This is my number one chief aim. My number one chief aim, whatever it is. I mean, it may be $300,000, $200,000, whatever it is. Okay, my number one chief aim. It might be to, if you're a leader, it might be recruit 5 solid realtors underneath me, 5 good ones. But you'll notice after I ask you to write goals down, you'll see 10 affirmations of my goals. Because this is the rewiring of the human brain, because right now you are wired and conditioned and are repeating certain limiting things deep down, not your outer voice, not your conscious, but your deep down inner voice, the self-image, is saying whether that belongs to you or not. So in order to and you have to write them in present tense. So, as you look at your top 10 career goals, right? And, when you look at one of the goals I have, I'm looking at it right now, my goals is to set up an affiliate program, because so many people want to earn money by sharing our organization with other people, but I don't have the technology and make it turnkey, right? So one of my affirmations is, okay, I have a goal to have this done by March 30th of 2019, right? So people can have their own private websites, they can share, they can offer discounts, and they can share our product and resources with other real estate agents that they know in their community, right? So then I write my affirmations, right? Some of my affirmations of my goals, right? I have content that I want to really finish, and scripts I want to. So three of my affirmations, I'll give you 3. I work daily on course content, right? My clear vision creates employment opportunity, right? I meet regularly with my advisor group. I'm writing them down in present tense, because there's certain things I have to do in my business. I've got to hire some more people, right? So I'm writing affirmations down. I meet regularly with my advisory group, because I didn't do that last year, right? So I look at those affirmations and I say those affirmations in the morning and at night. Then we shift into family goals, right? What are my top 10 family goals? what are the affirmations? And make sure if one of your goals is to spend more time with your daughter, and one of your affirmations is, I block out 2 hours a week to spend time with my daughter, right? Now I will. I am, I do, right? It's got to be in present tense. And that's what triggers the act. Because we in life, not to get too metaphysical or spiritual or whatever, we in life we don't have what we don't get what we pray for. We don't get what we say we want. We get what we already are, right? So if we say it in present tense, we only receive that which we are and have become. Years ago, my mentor used to always say, Pat, in life, before you can have, you must become. You can't wish for it to happen. You can't ask for it to happen. You have got to own it to happen, which means you got to say it, believe it, and do it, right? Be, do, have, right? So being is affirming. That's acting as if it were already in your possession. Do is the actions phase. Be, do, have. Okay. So when you look at your life and you look at your certain, we understand the cause and effect nature. You're the last 90 days of your business, and we look at your pipeline right now. We understand maybe you weren't being, maybe you weren't doing, and that's why you don't have, right? Or maybe it's mediocrity you're getting, right? It's just okay. Well, maybe you were being mediocre. Maybe you were doing mediocre things, and that was causing you. And we understand truly the cause and effect nature between our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions, and how precise they are in relationship with our results. Then we begin to say, in order for me to get to a higher level, I've got to think and believe differently. I've got to talk differently to myself, and I've got to act differently. I have to do different things. And it starts with goal direction, your fitness goals. I'm going to go on a limb and say that if you really tighten up your fitness and really change your diet and food, I went through that period, okay? I've got 5 children. Typically when my wife gets pregnant, I go through this period of not lack of sleep, lack of eating right, lack of exercise, right? And I'm gaining weight right alongside her. Only difference is I don't have a baby inside my body, right? So I know what it feels like to rely on caffeine and coffee, and I know that the 2 o'clock crash, you're physically exhausted, and I know what it feels like to feel overweight, to say no to the boating and the swimming, right? Because you're like, I'm not going to take my shirt off, right? I know that feeling, right? I also know the feeling of, hey, it's 50 degrees out. I can take my shirt off now, right? It's good enough, right? And I know the energy they have when you fuel your body with the right foods and you're not overeating and you're putting the right stuff in your body. The amount of energy is amazing, and what effect it has on your mindset as a sales professional. It just changes your whole outlook, right? You have more energy. It comes across, and not what you say is not half the battle in sales. It's how you're saying it. When you draw people with your enthusiasm and the energy you're portraying, especially when you're in person, when you're taking care of your body, that energy in your listing appointment, man, it's razor sharp. I want to do business with excited people. I want to do business with physically fit people. Me personally, now it doesn't mean I say yes to, if somebody helps me solve a problem, I don't care what they look like or what shape they're in. If they're really good, I'm going to work with them. Don't get me wrong, okay? But I'm saying it will help you immensely if you really, and I happen to believe in my life, because I was an athlete, and that if I'm not in shape, what it does to my mind. And I think that you can relate to that, guys. And if you really start with changing your goals, in a matter of 3 weeks, you can feel dramatically different than you do right now. Okay. Within a matter of 3 weeks. And it starts with, literally just protein and vegetables, right? Small amount of carbohydrates, small. You got to have carbs, but what do you eat? For me, sweet potato. I can have a half a sweet potato with 2 meals a day and have all the carbs I need. And I just eat protein and vegetables. The rest, protein drink after I work out, so I'm getting enough protein, my muscles are growing. And when you have more muscle mass, obviously you women with your lower estrogen levels, that when osteoporosis, bone density is an issue, you have to add weight training, you have to increase your muscle mass. So don't be afraid and take away that notion of I'm going to get bulky. You're not going to get bulky. You're going to look fantastic. You're going to have muscle mass. You're not going to have bone density issues, osteoporosis, whatever they call it down later in life. Okay. And your why. Why will I accomplish these goals? That drives the emotion. I want to be around for my kids. I don't want to get sick, all these things, then it goes to your spiritual, your community goals, which I think is important. When you look at your priorities, for me, it's the 5 F's: faith, family, fitness, finances, and friends. And that happens to be the order. I know that, hey, in order for me to live a well-balanced life, okay, so I'm not Mr. Workaholic, never sees his kids, that I have family, I have to make sure that I'm allocating time towards my spirituality. I have to make sure that I'm allocating times towards, all right, family. I have to make sure I'm allocating times towards fitness and my personal finances and career, right? But if you look at career and money, it's after faith, family, and fitness, okay? Because if you're sick, your money's not going to be there. You have to take care of your health, right? So, faith, family, fitness, finances, and friends. And most people, it's, friends of friends first. And then, family's down on the list. Finances is down on the list, right? And it's golf, it's this and that and the other thing. It's fun. They put fun ahead of all of it. Fun is not part of the 4 F's. I think if you take care of the 5 F's, faith, family, fitness, finances, and friends, you're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to be in control. You're going to be balanced, right? And be careful who you surround yourself with, because you are a product of your environment. So your culture, make a list of all the people you hang out with and ask yourself, all right, go through every one of those, the top 15 people you hang out with, and ask yourself, are they people that build me up, make me feel better? Are they people that are positive in light? Are they people that are taking care of their fitness, right? And that's a priority, right? Do they live a balanced life? Or are they people that talk about other people constantly? Are they a negative influence? Do they not take care of their bodies, right? And I would put a star next to the positive influences, right? And then I would circle the negative people, right? The Eeyores. Just put a star next to the people that are the people that just, you leave them and you just love the fact you have you love being around them. You love the influence they have on you, right? And when you put a circle around the other people, negative people that are not, they're not where you want to be. And look at how much time you're investing in being around those circles. And then you ask yourself one critical question. Are they important and meaningful in my life? They have to be there, right? Okay. Or do they not? And I just find myself grabbing. If they're not, right, then you need to put an X through their name. And you need to stop hanging out with them immediately. Doesn't mean take them completely out of your life, but you really need to, for your own sake, for your own goals, begin to surround yourself with people of like mind, of like goals. Like calls to like. So if certain groups of people, that's why so many people, if you look at economic classes, will hang out with one another, because it makes them feel comfortable being around somebody that makes around the same amount of money they have the similar house, right? And bringing their kids and wife into a home that's, a home that they feel as though they should be providing, but are not, right? How does that make them feel? Uncomfortable, right? Some people. But our reality is, if you're in sales, you can accomplish and have anything. Doesn't matter. So when I say that, there's good down-home people, man. And again, I didn't say hang out with rich people all the time, but I will tell you that you want to hang out with people regardless of how much money they make, and ask yourself, are they a well-balanced, integrity-driven people that are taking care of the things that you want to take care of? You want to have a great body, hang out with people that have great bodies. You want to make money, hang out with people that are making money. Because you'll begin to talk and think and walk and act like them, right? And when you take those exercises, and then the last question I have for you is this: after you've done that exercise of writing down your people, your stars, and your circle. By the way, if you have more than 2 stars, consider yourself lucky. If you write down that list of 15 people and you have 2 stars, consider yourself blessed, right? And I would say, all right, the circles, and what you have to do is confront those people. If they're important, they're going to be part of your life, and just let them know, like, hey, man, I'm going here in life, and I know you're going to, I know you want to drink it 3 days a week and play golf 4, but I'm gonna, this year is going to be a little light. I just want to let you know that. So just maybe once every couple of weeks I'm going to play, but I'm really going after my body. I'm really going after making money. I got to put my head down. Won't be able to hang out as much, right? Let them know that. Man, boy, will that create some suction with them, because they want to be there too, right? So it's the last part of that exercise is ask yourself one question. If those 15 friends were on this call and you weren't, and you were on their list, what would you be? Would you be a star? Would you be a circle? Or would you be an X? Right? Ask yourself that. Do you talk negatively about other people? Do you contribute to gossip and negative talk and negative things? Right? Are you eating the wrong foods, not taking care of your body, and allowing mediocrity to creep and be part of your game? Right? Well, maybe you should dedicate yourself to being a star in other people's lives and encouraging other people to be their best. So when we come back to this, guys, and we look at the different categories of your life and the affirmations and their why, your personal finances, same thing. This is where the credit card debt goes. This is where the savings for, hey, these are going to be my main purchases this year, right? This is what these main purchases are going to cost. This is what our monthly budget is, right? And I got to go after these things. So I need to make this amount of money to put in that pool liner. I need to make this amount of money to take the family to Hawaii, right? So and then it's having the discipline. What it does is, okay, great. If your wife comes to you and says, hey, let's redo the closet, and the closet's not on this year's list, and you guys talk and communicate each other's goals, and you simply got to say, well, do you want the pool liner or the closet? Because we have a specific plan we're following here. Not, well, you know what, we can just put on a credit card, make some more money, and we'll pay that credit card off, right? It's the kiss of death. That's a stupid decision, right? So it's clarity, and it's important. I believe that once you do this, the first thing I would do is print out this goal, this whole goal thing, and relative to your spouse, find out what their goals are, and share your goals with your spouse late night in bed. I would do it for my children. Print this out, write their goals down, get them living a goal-directed lives if you have kids at home still, even if they're out of the house. Send this to them. Ask them to write it down. I'm recording this. Share the value of this, right? So they understand the why. And most kids are like, I don't need to write that down, right? No, the best students, they have a GPA goal. The best students have a plan. They set certain time aside for doing their homework and being proactive, right? Certain regiments, certain routines that they follow. That's why they, you know what I mean? Sitting up in front of class is a best practice, right? So these are all things that I've talked about with my daughter Morgan, who's doing exceptionally well in her first semester at St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York, right? Right. So it's the same thing. It's the same steps. One of the greatest thing we can do is share with our family. You have to get on the same page with your spouse. I want you to share some of these personal goals with your children so they can see and watch you making changes, and they admire your changes, and they see that, wow, man, dad started with writing it down, and then he went at it like a bat out of hell, like he does with everything, right? That's how I want to do it. When I'm struggling, that's what I'm going to do, right? How I get myself out of the hole, or this is how I should be proactive with my life. Be that leader. So after we look at your goals, I want you to really begin to break down quarterly goals. Now, when you look at what are critical success factors, well, they're the tools, the resources, the people, and the systems you need to accomplish these goals. So, you're going to find that, well, one of the things, if one of your goals is to do a better job of communicating and adding value to your past clients and the people then you know that you need a CRM, you need video email, right? These are resources, right? You need somebody like me, or I need Pat, right? I need to attend every Mondays with Pat on 11 o'clock. I need to be on every one of them. It's mandatory to get a kick in the pants, to get somebody, even if it's the same thing I've heard, just to get a sharpen my blade, even if I only attend half of it, I got to show up every Monday at 11 o'clock and be with him. Maybe one of your goals is to have a one-on-one coach, right? Then it's, once you make a list of all the tools and resources you need, right? Oh, just one more example. Maybe one of your goals is to be really, really good at working expired leads, right? Well, we need an expired script. We need to get a subscription to the redx.com, which gives you all the data in your local market, on expireds, right? And, right, so you need a script, and then you need a follow-up system inside of Spider, right? So you're just making a list of all the things you need to accomplish your goals. Then from there, it's what are the activities? All right, so these are the goals. These are the high path activity. I'm sorry, these are the goals. These are the critical success factors. Some people call them KPIs, key performance indicators, right? And then if you think about, again, if you really think about this as an upside down triangle, and the very top is your goals, right? Now getting a little bit narrower are your critical success factors. The next block down, then it's the high path activities. What are the things I need to form the habit of doing every day, right? I've got to allocate certain time, right? Activities are prospecting, communicating with my past clients, working my expireds, working my FSBOs, and farming. And then 6 is open houses, right? These are my high path activities, okay? Then you say, great, if those are my high path activities, and actually when I do them, I have got to sound good, look good, then I actually have to practice my phone script for my expireds. I have to practice my listing presentation. I have to practice my script for open houses, right? I have to practice, how to handle these core objections that I've gotten over the last year, right? My rebuttals to them. Those are the things you need to practice. And when you look at, okay, I need to allocate time every day to actually practicing and internalizing and refining and honing the things that will actually, so that when I'm doing the high path activities with these resources, my likelihood of accomplishing those goals are very, very high, if not a guarantee, based on the law of cause and effect. They are a guarantee. And your success will be ultimately predicated on your commitment to practice. And that's what the biggest thing you could recognize on this call today is, to quote Allen Iverson, yes, I'm talking about practice, man. Practice. And it's a wonderful thing when you hone the core fundamental things that make you great versus winging it and hoping. We want to move to preparing and expecting. And you'll never look back and say, I wish I didn't practice, right? If you're doing a bodybuilding show and that's the goal is to be 10%, and that's the goal is to come to place first, second, or third, and you look at the food you ate and you came in first, second, or third, you accomplished that goal, you never look back, even if you didn't win that goal, but your body is good, your organs are great, and you find yourself in great shape. You never look back and say, well, God, I wish I didn't do all this. You never regret hard work. And let me just say this. And I've said this at the seminar when you came and saw me speak. Joy, the difference between happiness and joy is I truly believe if happiness is what you're after in life, that you'll be let down frequently and you'll be unhappy the rest of your life. That joy is the feeling that you get when you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, what you are fashioned to do. Joy is in process. Joy is enjoying the daily grind, the tasks, the activities, the phone work, right? The meetings. And when we find joy in doing that, we get really good at them because, when we start accomplishing things or we either get a result or not, we still have joy in the doing of the deed. Then we tweak and we refine and we inspect and we get lost in the moment. You think about an artist that's painting, they're lost, they're in the moment. You think about the person that's an expert guitar player, when they play the guitar, you can see in their face, they don't even know what's going on in their surroundings. They're so absorbed in the moment. And if we can shift to looking at prospecting, looking at concentrating, looking at focusing, looking at practicing as a chore and a task and something that's not fun, to it is part of it's the doing of the deed, and you enjoy doing that, then you're going to make more money and have more things in your life than you ever thought possible. And that's a big shift. That is a big shift. What does it take to get you in the zone? That's why I come back to finding that flow in your life where time just a day, just you loved it so much, but it doesn't seem like, man, you kept looking at your clock till it was 5 o'clock. And you got so much done and you can't believe that much time had already went by. When you find yourself in that kind of flow, great things happen. And it starts with goal direction. And it starts with saying, I'm going to write it down and I'm going to affirm it, and I'm going to every day just look at my goals. I'm going to affirm my goals once in the morning and once at night. Once in the morning and once at night. Once in the morning, once at night. Don't write them down and put them on your desk and, oh, where's your, it should always be within 3 feet of you. Your goals, let me say this again, should always be within 3 feet of you. You go to a seminar, bring your goals, right? You're going on an appointment, bring your goals. I'm talking about your work week now, right? No, you're not going to bring your goals to a gala or ball or going out to a friend's house, right? That's a little dorky, right? So during your work week, man, it's right here. And on Saturdays and Sundays, we're going to really, again, look at our family and make sure that, man, I got to do this, okay? That ends our session number 1 boot camp. And my hopes are that you'll take goal direction a little bit serious maybe than last time, that you'll get excited, because when you write goals down, it creates enthusiasm, it creates an inner fire, it creates excitement, and you're not thinking about debt, you're not thinking about money, you're not thinking about the adversity. Like, just throw all that aside and absorb yourself in the moment and get away from everybody and block out time to lose yourself into your goals and enjoy doing it. You will enjoy doing it, by the way. Have a great day, guys. If you can just jot down, one piece of feedback, whether, now what your golden nugget was for today. What was your golden nugget? Just write it down, send it in a chat to me. On a scale from 1 to 10, rank today, 10. It was extremely worth your time today as a 10. You learned something, and I hit you, and I said something different that it inspired you, whatever. That's a 10. Or 1 was, this was a waste of my time. How would you rate today? And any golden nugget. I greatly appreciate that.